Welcome back to FOS at Radio Row. It's Friday, the final day of Radio Row before the Super Bowl. I'm Dan Roberts, and we've got Mark Donovan, president of the Chiefs. Mark, thanks for talking to us.
Good to be here, Dan. Thanks.
Great timing to talk to you. You have a very big game coming up. And, maybe you don't want to over-talk about the three-peat, but that is the biggest story. How much pressure do you feel is on the team, or is it like, you know what, we just won 2 recently, so if it doesn't happen...
Yeah, I think less the latter. And it's less about pressure. I think it's more there's a general understanding that this is a historic run. It's never been done before, may never be done again. And what an opportunity that is. Coach did an amazing job in training camp of talking about it and just putting it on the table, saying, look, it's all going to be about three-peat this year.
All right.
Here's how we're going to approach it. We're going to win today, and we're going to win this play. And that's what we're going to focus on. And if we do that, three-peat will take care of itself. And I've seen that all year long. It's obvious that people ask and players get questions and coach gets questions, but we all come back to that as like, and I've seen it this week. It's more about win today, win this play, and they know that in the game on Sunday, it's going to be about making those plays. And if they do that, the rest will take care of itself.
The reason I think it's so impressive and interesting to people is the league is designed for parity. The league is structured so that you shouldn't have one team be this good for this long in a short period of time. I know this as a Patriots fan.
Yep.
What do you say to NFL fans who are not fans of the Chiefs or Eagles who have a little bit of Chiefs fatigue?
Yeah, I go back to the beginning of that, which is how amazing this run is in a system that is designed to not allow for this to happen. And it goes to, if you look at our team in 2018-19 versus our team in 23 and 24, they're different teams. And it's the combination of Brett Veach and his staff figuring out how to draft, but also what free agents to add to this team. It's that combined with Coach Reed and Coach Spags and Nagy and Tobe, and the ability to adjust. Like, okay, this is what we got. How are we going to go win with this? And that's what I think is fascinating, is it's the combination of it's designed to not allow this to happen. And then it isn't the same system. It isn't the same team. It isn't the same plays. It's a structure that just has the ability to be successful. And I think looking back years from now, we're going to look at this run and really, I think, more appreciate just how special it is.
Before the season even started, you spoke to our David Rumsey, and I know he asked about the Taylor Swift effect.
Yeah.
Of course, now it's not just Taylor. I mean, it's Travis and even Jason Kelce you could throw in there, the rise of the Kelce brothers, these huge personalities. Obviously, there's Mahomes. I mean, it feels like there's been a rising tide for all the stars of the team and maybe even for just Chiefs awareness nationally. What do you feel like is the change versus past years for the Chiefs, even as a brand?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of the success that we've had puts us on platforms we haven't been on before. The timing of the being on those platforms when those platforms are expanding exponentially. I mean, look at where we are today, right? And then the combination of that with the international growth and the fact that content is now being consumed worldwide 24/7. So we as an organization, our players as superstars are taking advantage of that and maximizing that. And that's another one I look back on and say, okay, 30 years from now, there's going to be some kid in Madrid who's a fan of the Chiefs. And you're going to ask him, how did he become a fan of the Chiefs? It was because, well, my dad was a fan in 2020 when they were doing this, right? And that's the opportunity that we look at from a business standpoint. It's like, we're on a platform we've never been on. We have reach we've never had. How do we continue to grow that, and what do we do to capitalize on that?
Yeah, I'm glad you bring up international growth, because it seems to me that's been one of two kind of sweeping talking points all week. The league just yesterday announced there will be a game in Australia next season. The Rams will play in that game. Not sure who the other team will be. But when we talk about international growth, I mean, it really takes the National Football League to being the International Football League. Do you think part of this is feeling like, okay, we've got 120 million people watching a Super Bowl. Are we close to a saturation point for U.S. fandom? And now it's like, let's go global.
Yeah, I look at it a little differently. First of all, we're one of the most aggressive teams when it comes to international growth. We've been that way from the beginning, and that really started with Lamar. Lamar felt like the future of the NFL was international, and he felt that way in 1975. Like, he was way ahead of the game on this. And it was because of his love of the World Cup and being to every single one of those and just understood Europe. I think for us, we look at international growth as the future, but we have the opportunity to really capitalize on it today. And our players are doing the same thing, and our league is doing the same thing. I've said this publicly many times. I applaud the league for allowing the teams to actually take a lead in growing internationally. It forces us to be more aggressive as franchises, and then you got people engaged and invested. We invested heavily in Germany. We've invested in Mexico. We continue to invest, and we hope to continue to invest in even more markets as we go.
One more for you on the business of the NFL. A lot of the talk this week has been about adding an 18th game.
Yeah.
And it's funny, someone on Twitter dug up a story I wrote back in 2020 about the Agita over adding a 17th game.
Yeah.
So, they went to 17-3. Would we go to 18-2? Just talk a little bit about the difficulties with adding yet another game. And then are we looking at an inevitable future where there is no preseason?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. Preseason is still an important component of our game, not only to prepare, but also to evaluate. So I think there's got to be some form of preseason. I don't know what form that takes. I think the 17 to 18 is one that I would say this from my perspective, just like every other aspect of our business, we have more data than we've ever had to evaluate and what makes sense and what doesn't make sense. I know the PA has spoken on this, the commissioner has spoken on this. I think that we're going to make the right decision for this business. We're going to make the right decision for our players, and it's going to be a joint decision. The way it's structured, it sets up that way. It's going to take a little time, and it's part of a negotiation.
Yep.
So I'm sure we'll come to a good solution there.
Awesome. Mark, thanks so much. Good luck. Thanks for talking to FOS.
All right, thank you.